Welcome to Home Team Advantage. I'm Gary Gimbetti along with Mike Egan. Started a little bit, about 2 seconds late on that one. But
Our two fans
that's
just
okay.
walked
Yeah,
by.
we just had somebody walk by out in the lobby or in the office out
Yeah.
there, so it kind of caught me off guard.
They went
We
that
don't
way.
have a fan coming in here,
Yeah.
but
Either that or somebody's looking for you.
yeah. Or you.
Remember those phone calls we used to get?
Yeah, they're coming down here looking for you. I have nothing to do with it. But we're back after,
Well, we were here last week.
well, we were here last week and we're back. So that's a good thing. We're still alive.
We just started. We're scrambling to figure out what we're going to talk about today. Brought to you by Caribou Coffee. Today we're having
Caramel High Rise.
a caramel high rise.
And it's very good.
Can't you take a pill to get the same thing?
No.
Okay.
What pill? I don't need pills.
I don't need no stinking pills.
Don't need them yet anyway. Pills, no. But hey, we've had obviously the weather has not cooperated one bit.
This is unbelievable. Did we break the record this morning? They said they only had about an inch and a half to go before or Duluth break the record.
We must have had at least that.
130 some inches of snow.
And fortunately, it was very fluffy,
Yes.
so it was easy to shovel.
Yep.
So that's a good thing. Except the lake down at my end of my driveway, I get a big lake there every year, and that was a little bit tougher because it all melted or it all froze, and then I had to shovel it out.
Get your auger out and put a pole out. And
That's
you're good to
about
go.
it. That's just sad. Yeah. No other comments on that one.
Okay. So, anyways, back to our program.
Well,
High school sports. We don't have a whole heck of a lot to talk about.
No, and I know there was supposed to be games played, not necessarily Hibbing, but games from other schools around the area. And I know that's pretty unrealistic to think you're going to play the first week of April, but you never know. I mean, some year, well, it has been quite a few years now where we've been able to get outside right away. But yeah, some I think Mesabi East has a heated field,
Oh.
artificial turf, Hibbing. What are you waiting for?
Oh, jeez. Got you the turf filled. I mean, now you want us to heat it?
You got to heat it. No, we need a turf baseball field, something fierce in this town. So please consider it. I know it costs money, but it would make life a lot easier sometimes.
What, did we say something wrong? Our producer just left us.
Yeah, I don't know.
Stranded.
Yeah, no, we're all by ourselves.
Good, now we can swear.
Yeah.
We can't put us out.
But and again, I beg for that every week we come on this show. Beg for that. But
Well, even if they looked at turfing our existing field, it's a beautiful baseball field.
definitely.
And, if, again, do you turf an old field like that, or at the same cost it would probably to build a new one? That's the question, I guess, so.
Well, and I've been to over there to Mesabi East in Aurora, and it's a nice field, but actually there's no bleachers
Okay.
unless they put metal ones up,
Yep.
on the
portable,
sides.
the portable ones.
So they already have the grandstand here, so you already
Right.
have seating. So that's probably the best way to go is to try to turf that field.
Plus you got the nostalgia of that field and everything that's, I mean, we've gone from high school, college, semi-pro, I guess, when the Skeeters were here. So it's seen a lot of different baseball players.
Well,
So,
Greyhounds, amateur
Greyhounds.
and minors now, and they'll be back, I believe, this summer with Adam Schaefer doing the coaching duties.
and
I believe.
Mr. Vandermeer, I talked,
Yeah, he
talked
was-
to him yesterday. He said,
right.
and unfortunately, there's only 2 teams on this area right now. There's going to be Hibbing, I think he said, and one in Duluth. Am I right?
Yeah, because I heard Marble folded.
Right. In
So
Grand
they
Rapids.
don't have a team. And Grand Rapids hasn't had a team
Right.
for a few years now,
So-
and it, how sad is that when
Yeah.
you have 2 baseball communities like Rapids and I don't, what do you call it, the Rapids area, and then you have the Coleraine area, I guess,
Yep.
is our big baseball communities, and they
Well,
can't
yeah.
even get teams.
The Marlboro Mallards.
Yeah.
I mean, they were here a long time, and now they're no longer in existence. So what's that tell you about what's going on after kids leave high school?
Yeah, they obviously don't want to play ball anymore. But that's the surprising part about that is that Marlboro usually has some decent players. The last year they had some really good players on there, and I don't know why they can't support it.
Yeah.
So, if you want to give me a call and do a story on it, please do so.
Good.
But at least they'll have the minors again, and hopefully they have some home games because it's during the summertime down at the park. That's even
fun.
if I'm working, that's
Yep.
that's like heaven.
Well, it's nice that you can go to a park that you have 4 different baseball fields, so you have an opportunity to watch a high school or college game. You go watch a little league game. You go watch a transition league and the Miracle League, or watch the Miracle League kids playing. You go up to BP number 1, and you've got softball.
Yeah.
So there's a great variety. It's a nice venue. And then unfortunately, you go to Vic Power, we've got 6 softball fields down there, and if you kick the cows off, you could probably play a game.
Yeah. Or the deer,
Or the
bear,
deer,
or
yeah.
whatever crosses those
Which is
fields.
unfortunate, because I remember as of 5-6 years ago, Gary, that every night there's somebody going on down there.
Oh, and there's no slow pitch softball in this town anymore.
No
It
more
just
slow
kinda-
pitch.
I don't know where that went. Unless do we have a park board anymore? No. According to our disembodied voice over there, we don't even have a park board
No.
to run any of it.
Well, I think one of the problems too is it got so expensive that guys just figured that they couldn't afford to play anymore. I mean, between paying rental on fields, which doesn't sound right to me, but and then you got to pay for the officials, and then you got to pay for the balls, and you can't pay for the beer because you can't drink beer out there, which didn't help any.
I think some of that went on anyway. Maybe
Oh, it
not
went
during
on
the
no matter
games.
what, but-
probably out in the parking lot
yeah,
it did, but
yeah.
but not during the games anyway. I mean,
No.
and you shouldn't do that during
No,
the games.
no.
I mean, so
No, you shouldn't do it after the game.
well,
either.
no, that's why there's bars in town, right?
Well,
You go to the establishments and
Well, because most of those establishments sponsored those teams.
yeah.
So, well, we're starting off on the wrong foot this morning. All the negativity. Let's talk.
Well,
Let's
no,
talk-
I was gonna mention though. You mentioned the field down at Vic Power.
Yep.
My other thought would be to turf that baseball field because it's not. I don't think it's that bad a field, is it?
Which one?
The baseball field out at Vic Power.
No.
I mean, you'd have to fence it.
Yep.
Obviously, there's no fence around it.
Yep.
But that would be another option to turf that field, put drainage in there. And because my whole thing, and it doesn't happen often, and maybe this is why it doesn't happen often, is because you can't host, if you're going to host a Legion or a VFW tournament, you got to have 2 fields.
Correct.
And instead of playing in Hibbing and going to Nashwauk or to Chisholm, not that they're bad venues, but you can hold it all in the same town. And I think that bodes well for the
Yeah.
city.
But in this age of collaboration, why not have a VFW or a Legion baseball tournament? Have one field here and one field in Chisholm.
No,
And let's show some cooperation between the two.
yeah, and
entities.
that's not a bad idea either. And maybe you can have 3 fields. Maybe if you need 3 fields, you can have a 24-team tournament. I
Yep.
don't know. I mean, then use 3 or 4 fields.
There's no lights on that baseball field, though.
No, but you have your game. I get that. There's no lights on it, but
You play all your
you
day
play
games.
day games and you don't have to worry about it. And usually the lights don't come on that field down at
No.
except for the minors, who play it start till 7.
Yep.
But all your Legion games are usually done by 7 o'clock. They usually start at 5, so you don't really need the lights on. And
No.
then you play, whatever. I mean, that logistics can be worked out, but
Yeah, as long as you can learn how to play baseball with snowshoes on.
yeah, that's the key up in this area. They've already had, looking at Twitter, they already had baseball games down south.
Yeah.
They've had baseball games already, and softball and track meets.
And the 4 Twins are supposed to have their opener today, and that's canceled till tomorrow.
Yeah, well, that's why they put that. See, they were supposed to open today, and then Friday they were supposed to be off, but they worked that into the schedule just in case you have
Okay.
have a postponement or something, and then it should be set up. But you said it's supposed to be about 60 to 70 degrees down there.
Down the
so-
cities, yeah.
So they made the right decision by calling that off. Now up here, as far as you wanted to get into high school stuff, The tennis team beat Grand Rapids Greenway 7-0 the last Thursday, I think. Got obviously swept the singles and swept the doubles. Today they're at noon. They played Superior, and then tomorrow they're taking on Duluth Marshall. Both those matches are over at the Virginia Tennis and Pickleball Club.
Yep.
So they both start at noon. It'll be too late for today's match, but if you see the show today, they do play at noon tomorrow. It's probably hard for people to get off and get there, but
Yep.
I mean, at least they're starting. Track's had some indoor meets, and Hibbing won. Boys and girls won their respective divisions at it was a G&K indoor meet held at UWS. A lot of a lot of initials in that one.
Yeah.
The G&K meet at UWS, they won both the boys and the girls. We had quite a few. Emery Mackey, I know, for one of her events. Austin Valento won the pole vault. Aiden Shepard won the shot put. Logan Drews won the 200. And I'm going to probably forget somebody, because I always do.
Yeah.
And if I come up with it, I will definitely mention it.
But again, just to reiterate what I mentioned, I like that word, huh?
Yeah,
I
reiterate.
spit that one out. Our last show last week, UWF, what a beautiful facility. You know, if we had even our HCC had something like that, man, it's just, if that doesn't draw a student athlete to a program, I don't know what would. It's a great facility. So
Yeah, and again, we talked about turf and fields, but what would be wrong with having a dome?
well, you can blow those plastic ones up pretty easy now.
And you can play, indoors there. I don't know. Softball's probably more feasible than baseball, but
But you go down the cities and that's all you see.
Yeah.
Those big dome places people playing. So yeah, we'll get there one of these days, Gare. Maybe not in our lifetime, but
no, maybe someday.
yeah.
All for the kids. It's for the kids. It's not for me. It's not for you.
No.
I mean, obviously, if we ever built that track I wanted to build, I mean, you got to let the public use it, because that's kind of what it's for. But if I wanted to run in there, fine, whatever. But I'm probably not running in there. Running's probably out of the realm of possibility for me anymore. But walking's even too hard. But yeah, so that takes care of the track. I think they go somewhere this weekend, or maybe next week sometime. They're going back to Bemidji, I think, for a meet.
Yeah. And then baseball has indoor in the gym
Practices.
You can't even go in the parking lot now.
No, they're stuck indoors. Softball stuck indoors. They did, though. The softball team did go down to St. Cloud, I think she told me yesterday, and had some scrimmages with two or three teams, and she said they did pretty good down there.
Good.
They started with different scenarios. They'd start with a runner on second or a
Right.
runner on first and stuff like that, just to work things through. And so, good for them.
And who's on first?
What's it? Who signs the checks for the first baseman?
Who?
What's on second?
I don't know.
No, that's third.
That's third.
You guys need to practice that.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. But so good. She has three pitchers this year: Ani Bovin, Riley Forboard, and I believe Emma McDowell, who's like a ninth grader.
Okay.
Riley's a senior. Ani's a junior. So she's got the pitching situation's pretty clear. She doesn't have to use Ani every game, because Riley's certainly capable. And
Right.
Emma McDowell I saw her pitch last summer. I didn't realize it was her. I thought it was somebody else. But she threw well during the summer league
Good.
when they played. So that's a plus for that team. But they have to hit the ball. Will be their key.
Yeah.
So if they can hit and get runners on and get runners in scoring position and knock them in, they'll be fine.
So softball, baseball, track. What else we got during the summer? Oh, basketball
Spring.
camps.
Well, we got no, don't even go there. But I think that does it for that's it for the winter sports. So, I mean, obviously you're going to have the shooting, the clay target.
Oh, yep.
I'm sure they'll be starting up here pretty soon. So, and we have they usually do pretty good every
Well,
year.
I think a couple of years ago we were talking about the trap shooting, and that in the state of Minnesota, that is the fastest growing participating sport in high school, is trap shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and you can do that and then play other sports because
Right.
it really doesn't.
interfere with your
Yeah.
ability to play, somewhere else. So that, it can't hurt the eye-hand coordination either, right?
No, and it's impressive that they're able to do what they do with
Yep.
that. I'm sure. No, I wouldn't even want to try it because I don't.
And that brings to mind another sport we really don't know a lot, and I don't know a whole lot about, but you see a lot, is archery. That
Oh,
would-
yeah,
in Hibbing here, I think they had a big state archery tournament here that was held at the Lincoln. Was that, or at the
It may
Armory?
have been, or at the Armory, or at the. I know Paula Kangas is involved with
Right.
that, I believe, and I know they have they do it at the Assumption
Yeah.
sometimes, but
But-
yeah, maybe I do recall having some big tournament in town a couple weeks.
But it's
ago.
nice that it's just a sport you don't hear a lot about, but the participation rate, it seems to grow every year. So,
Mhm.
so there are a lot of things going on besides shoveling snow.
Which, yeah, my back's pretty much killing me over the last 2 days, but
You got to get the neighbor kid to come over and do that.
I don't have a neighbor kid,
No,
so it's
don't have
it
a
falls
dentist?
on me.
you don't have a Dennis, the menace
No,
neighbor.
that might be kind of fun though
Yeah,
to have someone like that around. Keep you on your toes.
yeah.
College baseball, and softball, they haven't, since their trips to the Florida, they haven't been able to really do
Right.
much. I know Mesabi Range coach Chris Vito has been emailing us at work saying this game's canceled, that game's canceled, so
Wow.
they're having a hard time. But sometimes they'll try to rent out the US Bank Stadium and go down and play.
We're supposed to get enough teams to collaborate and
Yeah.
flip the bill.
Yeah, so, at least they can get out if they need to get out. They can do that. I don't know how, they haven't done it recently, but
You think the Twins would ever consider playing in US Bank Stadium if they can't get a game out at Target
I
Field?
don't know.
Or is the fence is too short?
Well, I don't know the dimensions
Yeah, I don't either.
offhand, but it's a good thing they made it big enough to
Play
host
baseball.
baseball in
Yep.
there if they had to. So they did that right. There's no doubt about that. Pro-wise,
Well, before we go any further,
Oh, okay.
speaking of college, we got to wish the Minnesota Gophers good
Mhm.
luck.
okay.
Two Big Ten teams in the hockey tournament.
Yeah, and down in Tampa.
Minnesota and
in Tampa.
Michigan.
Nice place for a Frozen Four in Tampa.
Hey, why not? They've won the NHL Stanley Cup for the last couple of years. So
That's true. But yeah, no. Hopefully, they play Boston University today at I believe 6 or 5 o'clock.
Yep, and
Or somewhere.
Michigan's got Quinnipiac.
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 Yeah. That one might be interesting because Michigan's loaded. Like as Pat Micheletti has told us, Michigan's loaded with talent,
Yep.
with scoring talent. Quinnipiac likes to play more defensively.
Yep.
So
And
that one might be.
Michigan beat the Gophers for the Big Ten title, correct?
Yeah, 4-3,
Okay.
I think. So, hey, get by today first. Then I think the championship game's on Saturday, and we'll go from there.
Fun hockey to watch.
And it's been 2002 and 2003. I think we're back to back titles for them. So
Yep.
it's been 20 years.
And the Minnesota Gophers coach, who came from St. Cloud,
Bob
correct,
Motzko.
is coach of the year.
Yeah.
First
he
time
was,
since
Oh, I don't know. That's Lucia.
Lucia.
Yeah. And I noticed he was on KFAN yesterday with Paul Allen, and he's now like the chairman or something of the CCHA or something.
Oh, okay.
And but he still bleeds maroon and gold. So I think he's going to be down there rooting for the Gophers. So good for him because I mean, he helped this team. He was the coach of those two title
Yep.
teams, and
Yep.
and it's hard to lose your job. I get it, but he doesn't hold any animosity. And
Speaking of Paul Allen, not to keep jumping around, but what else are we going to do this morning? Is he still You listen to his podcast, where they call
Well,
it.
it's showing it's yeah.
Yeah. He still think that the Vikings should get rid of our quarterback, and
Oh no, he never.
yes, he did.
No, I don't. Well, maybe you heard him.
Right,
say-
Ron?
Maybe he had a weak moment. Yeah, maybe he had a weak moment, but I've never heard him ever say they should get rid of Kirk Cousins. But as long as you're on that subject, after the Super Bowl, the guy his producer that works with him laid out the question: how close do you think, after watching these two teams, how close do you think the Vikings are to winning the Super Bowl? Now,
They're not even picked to win the division
Well-
next year. Detroit is.
yeah, well, defensively this past year we're not close.
No.
So that's the number one thing that has to improve. But and maybe we talked about this earlier after the Super Bowl, but if you don't think Kirk Cousins is at the same level of Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts, then what do you do?
You trade him.
I mean, I have nothing against Kirk Cousins. I mean, he's done very well here.
Yeah. But I see now last night they're predicting, how they predict all the draft picks. That they said the Vikings are going to pick this kid from Tennessee, their quarterback, who was hurt his knee or something and wasn't able to play. But he's supposed to be a Patrick Mahomes type quarterback where he can scramble and throw. So well, it'll be interesting to see.
But but Lamar Jackson's out there.
Lamar Jackson is supposedly the Vikings are on his list too, I guess. So I mean, what
So-
would you do if they got him? You'd have to get rid of Cousins.
Well, yeah, you
Couldn't
probably
afford him.
No, you couldn't afford two quarterbacks like that. And I'm not saying I want to get rid of Cousins, but if San Francisco is looking for a quarterback and Harbaugh out there is enamored with Kirk,
Yeah.
then make a deal with them. But I don't necessarily want him traded. He's done well here. I mean, he's had good numbers. But how close are you to winning a Super Bowl if you don't consider him at the same level as Mahomes
you
and
don't.
Hurts? And
The little secret that no one ever talks about is, Mahomes is a great quarterback, but he's also got a great offensive line in front of him.
well, that helps definitely. But I didn't think the Vikings' offensive line was that bad this year. I mean, it was better.
No, it was better.
than it has been.
Yeah.
But you still have to
But
make improvements there.
Being better than mediocre is not too good.
No. And the running game has to get going. Obviously, they haven't done anything with Dalvin Cook, so maybe he's staying here next year. But you're right, the Lions are, I think, the
They're
team
picked
that could win, and that's not a dumb pick
No.
because they came on at the end of the year, and hopefully they, hopefully for us, I guess, hopefully they don't continue that. But
Yeah.
if they do, they might win the North Division.
Well, we might as well stay with the pro stuff here. And the Wild are in the hunt for a division title. They're tied right now with Colorado. Is that right, Ron?
Colorado and
Yeah.
Dallas
And
with
Dallas.
98 points
Yep.
each. I think Colorado has one less game than the other two.
Right.
But yeah, they play Pittsburgh tonight. Then they have, I think, 4 more games after that. Maybe it's a nice time to go on a 4-game winning streak.
Yeah. And Mr. Kaprizov hopefully will be back this weekend, they're saying. And you said
Gustav
Gustav is
Nyquist
supposed
is
to be
one of the
back.
trade acquisitions
Yep.
is supposed to be back. They've both been skating.
Yep.
And they've been looking pretty good, evidently. So, there's obviously we knew Kaprizov was coming back. I mean, I don't know anybody who ever said he was out for the season. Really was off their rocker, I think, because I didn't think it looked that bad, and an injury like that. But I don't know. They never tell you what's wrong.
No.
Which is sad. I mean, who cares?
But
Lower body, upper body. I mean, come on.
Isn't it kind of ironic, though? We've got a professional hockey team, we got a professional basketball team that we didn't know if they're going to make the playoffs or not.
And they might finish 41-41.
Yep.
And I hate to get off of hockey right away, but we don't
That's all right.
have a whole lot of
Yep.
time either. But I heard this morning on KFan about what happens if this team, because they didn't get Rudy Gobert to finish 41-41.
Right.
They figured they'd have but they also didn't figure they'd be missing Towns
Can't.
for 51 or 52 games,
Yep.
whatever it was. Now, they go, I think Ben Lieber was the one who brought it up. He goes, well, what do you do if this team doesn't get advance in the playoffs? What kind of changes do you think should be made? And the first one was fire the coach.
No.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Not at all. I think Chris Finch has done a magnificent job.
If I had an opportunity and I was own this team, my first move would be the cat would be gone. He would.
I know, because you're kind of like that. I
Well,
mean,
no,
but-
he's kind of like the Sano of the Twins. I mean,
Well, I know, but I know they won games with him out, but they also lost games they maybe could have won. I mean, I know would-haves, could-haves, and should-haves are.
I just don't like the way he plays. I mean,
No.
even the other night I watched a little bit of it, and it's whining up and down the floor and whining about this, and just play the game. That's all you're asked to do.
No, I know, but that was part of it because they're probably not trading Gobert
No,
after what they did last summer, and I don't think you can get rid of Cat. I honestly don't, because
nobody wants him.
he kind of stirs the drink. I mean, Anthony Edwards, it's his team.
Yeah,
It's Anthony Edwards' team,
Yeah.
and then you got to have 2 or 3 guys around him,
Right.
and I think Cat fills that role. Gobert obviously fills that role. Mike Conley now fills kind of
Yeah.
that role. I mean, he's been a much better. I think I like D'Angelo Russell, but I think Conley's more.
Yep. Well, and they got one of their guys is out.
Well, Naj
Two of
Reed
them.
got
Yeah,
hurt,
Knox
which hurt.
Yep.
But that's that's all part of it. People get hurt. We had the Twins start out 4-0,
Now they're 4-2.
4-2, but their 2 losses. I mean, 1-0 against one of the best pitchers in the major leagues, and Sandy Alcantara, I
Yep.
believe his name is. But Kenta Maeda came back from his Tommy
St.
John
John.
surgery and threw a
Pitched
heck of
very
a
well.
game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Should have won that game. That relief pitching.
Well, and then Pablo Lopez, who we got for the Luis Arraez, pitched into the 7th inning yesterday and didn't give up
One run.
only 1 run.
Yep.
And then the bullpen blew it, which
Yep.
surprise.
Yep.
I mean, I've seen Caleb Thielbar throw some really good games, but then he blows yesterday's game.
Yep.
And then you have Cole Sands and
Begon.
Emilio Pagan, and I don't
He
know.
be gone,
man.
be
Yeah,
gone.
that's
Oh.
they could upgrade their bullpen a little bit better, I think. The rest of them are okay. The Lopez kid from Baltimore they got last year, pretty good. Duran and Alcala, and those guys are all pretty good. So hopefully they can shore up the bullpen a little bit better. But
Well,
hey,
we did it again.
BS'd our way through another 28 minutes. But hey, I hope you enjoyed the show.
Our 2 fans out there. What are they going to talk about?
Yeah. So for Mike Egan, I'm Gary Giambetti. We'll see you again next week.
Hibbing Public Access Television would like to thank U.S. Bank for providing us with studio space.